So this week's Raw was the season finale of the longest-running episodic TV show in television history. Because they do seasons now. Seth Rollins begins because he's part of the Authority. Authority always begins. He's still concerned about his 2 matches that he's got Night Champions, and Sting has got his statue. Sting is in the back with the statue. He's like, hey, I got your statue. Just come get your statue. A couple times throughout the night, Sting appears in the back with the statue. One time he puts a Sting mask on it. To which Seth was like, you're defiling my statue. He put a plastic mask on it. The mask will come off pretty easily. At the end of the night, he pushes the statue into a garbage truck. Sting isn't scheduled to be at Raw next week. So the last image we see of Sting before his massive main event match at Night of Champions is Sting riding on the back of a garbage truck. So the season finale of Raw, if you were trying to figure out what is going to happen with Seth Rollins' statue, Sting destroys it. Because that's part of a lead-in to them having a match for the title. Sheamus also talks with Seth Rollins, kind of going, you have 2 matches. You might have 3 matches. Okay? Sheamus had a match against Randy Orton. Good match. They have nice chemistry, but it's hard to get involved in those matches because we've seen them a lot. But that also means we're not going to see it in the Night of Champions, which is good. Afterwards, Orton got tagged by the Wyatts because Ambrose and Reigns need a partner for their 6-man tag match. Reigns and Ambrose took on the Ascension because they needed a tag team that they could just mow through. And they did. It was horrible. I'm beginning to think myself as a wrestling fan compare it with another wrestling fan and probably go over the Ascension. I have a feeling a local jobber tag team would probably be booked to go over the Ascension. Speaking of jobber tag teams, Los Matadores had a match with the Dudleys because they needed to kill time. And one of them hit the other, and then El Torito got involved, and El Torito got pseudo-punted out of the ring. Powerbomb through a table, crowd's happy. Alright. The New Day is defending their tag team belts against Primetime Players. Winner of that match goes on to face Team 3D, the Dudleys. The Dudley Boys. Night of Champions. That could be pretty good. That actually could work really well. It's the trombone versus the tables. I like it. I think that could work. Xavier Woods just trash talking the whole time and occasionally, bam, 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 bam. It's awesome. Anybody who follows him on Twitter or knows him in person, ask him if he travels with that trombone. I know he's a nerd, so the trombone case is probably like a Ninja Turtles case. Probably Donatello, because he's the smart one. I need to know if that travels with the production crew, if that's his own trombone. Because that is some amazing, amazing work. That trombone's going to get over. Maybe he learned from Santino. Santino, fake trombone, everyone loved it. Xavier Woods, he's not imaginary. He brings his own trombone. Boom. Cesaro and Miz had a match. Because Miz was like, hey Cesaro, the Cesaro section, I can make it the Cesaro Nation. I was like, man, that could be a workable tag team. Everyone hates the Miz. You turn Miz a little babyface. He's the guy who takes the beat down. Your hot tag is Cesaro. Cesaro cleans house. That could work. Instead, Cesaro was like, nah, I don't need your help. And they have a good, solid match. Until Big Show comes down and just chases Miz around and we double count out. Because double count outs are great. And then, as Show is leaving, he punches Cesaro in the face. Okay. Alright. since Seth Rollins has 2 matches at Night of Champions. They decided to give him 2 matches. He takes on Ryback in a match that was very good. A nice amount of back and forth. Ryback, I think he's actually gotten a lot better since the time when he took on CM Punk. He's made a very significant amount of improvements. He still doesn't look as dangerous, but really good, solid match. And he gets Sting's music and stuff, which distracted Seth. He really couldn't get some of his finishing moves in, then a roll-up by Ryback for a 3 count. Yes, Ryback won by a roll-up. Paige took on Sasha Banks in a rematch of the horribly construed Beat the Clock that they did last week. Technically, Sasha and Paige should have been the first match. Should have set like a 7-8 minute time match. Or it should have been a really long match, and Paige should have gotten pinned by Sasha. Then putting the pressure on the next 2 matches, because neither one of them were to be successful in defeating their opponent, Nikki wouldn't have a challenger. But that didn't happen. So instead we get to see Paige and Sasha having a really good match. Crowd's into it. Alright, there you go. So I guess when they've crapped on matches, that's because Nikki was involved? Or just the other Bellas? I don't know. Naomi makes a run-in towards the end of the match, which doesn't get a DQ, but allows Sasha to get a dirty roll-up pin. Worked well. Nikki came down to say something. I skipped through it. I don't want to hear her talk. I don't. But then Charlotte came down and was like, I petitioned the authority to have my match pushed up. Because someone in the back must have realized that if you break a record on the 14th, a match on the 20th does not matter. You're the longest reigning Divas champion. Because math. 20 is a bigger number than 14. So I guess someone must have watched Raw last week and wait a minute. We're making a big deal of a match that happens after she becomes the longest reigning Divas champion? Yeah, we are. You know that doesn't matter, right? Like, once you break the record, you've broken the record, whether it's 1 day, 1 minute, 1 week, 2 months, just the longest reigning champion. The match happened next week. I wonder if it'll happen while like the Bellatron is going on in the background. Because it'd be interesting to see the match happen, have Nikki look at it and be like, "Yay! I'm the longest reigning Divas." Roll up 1, 2, 3, and have it end with like 1 second left, or have her just become the longest reigning and then lose the belt. Then they're tied, unless she breaks down to seconds. But it's storyline, at least. They're doing something with the division. At least. I can't be too upset. It's something. I'm trying to left anything out. Doesn't feel like I did. Oh, yeah, that is 6-man tag match for a finish. Primetime players. John Cena versus New Day and Seth Rollins. Okay match. Seth did some of the beatdown work was always a New Day because his first beat down John Cena. Have Titus do the initial house cleaning, then John Cena tags in and gets the victory. I would have rather seen John Cena take the beat down, have him take like the New Day finisher. Just to stay by the outside of the ring. Have Titus O'Neil be the one to clean house with the victory. Or even Darren Young get the victory. Anybody except for John Cena. John Cena can still come into the ring and hit his AA. Because you got 4 guys versus 3. He still could hit his finisher. But I think this is one of those moments where you could have let Titus O'Neil get the victory and it would have been fine. It was a hot crowd. Crowd loved everything that they saw. But then we end with Seth Rollins in the ring watching Sting crush a statue in a garbage truck. I don't know who thought that whole statue storyline was a good idea. But I'm thinking they might need to hit a website like Cage Side Seats or Bleacher Report or any of the numerous wrestling websites and just start picking some of the random comments that exist and throwing them in a random fashion, and you might be able to make better storylines then. So Seth Rollins beats John Cena with the help of Jon Stewart and gets a statue with which Sting steals that statue and uses it kind of to elicit a title match against Seth Rollins. At approximately the, not quite the 1 year anniversary of when he showed up.